4.
Welcome back to E3 2010 Live and our extended look at BioWare's upcoming MMO Star Wars The Old Republic. Now earlier you got an overall sense of the game, a look at player progression and all those wonderful ships. I'm going to have one of my very own. But now we get into the nitty-gritty combat and PvP action. My dream of destroying people with the Force is finally coming true. Joining us once again is Dallas Dickinson, Director of Production at BioWare. All right. Everyone's excited about PvP.
Yes.
The first question I think everybody does have is, how is a smuggler going to, go up against a Jedi or a Sith Lord? How is that going to work?
Well, there are a couple answers to that question.
Okay.
The first one is that in some cases, rock does beat scissors, right?
Okay.
So yeah, there are people who are specialized in such a way that, yeah, a Sith warrior going straight up against a smuggler, he's probably going to take him down, depending on how the guy is geared up. But the other thing we like to say is this is a time when there are lots and lots of Jedi and lots of Sith. You, as a smuggler, are the best smuggler in the universe. These Sith and Jedi, they are all very, very good, but they're all as good as the other Sith and Jedi in the universe. We're not in the situation where there's one Sith Lord, one Jedi, and they're 1,000 times better than everybody else. So you can balance it out just in terms of I'm the best smuggler out there.
So is PvP combat going to be group-based or is it solo?
Well, what we've announced today, in fact, at E3, is the PvP war zones. And those are very much group-based. It is faction versus faction PvP combat. And there are specific areas that are designed so that you can bring a group in and live out your fantasy of being a stormtrooper or someone representing the Sith Empire and fighting against the Republic. And so this is the place where you get to live out that fantasy that I know a lot of us have in the Star Wars universe.
Now, we can actually take a look at some stuff that's happening right now, but is this something that now, if I'm playing as a single player, am I going to run into challenges and quests that I'm not going to be able to do alone?
Yeah, we want to make sure that the core of the game, and we talk a lot about story in our games, that you can play through it solo if that's your preference, but we want to make sure that grouping is not just rewarding, but it's actually very, very fun, and that there is some content you're absolutely going to have to group up with people to succeed at. What we're actually seeing right here is an example of that. We're going to show a little bit of multiplayer combat. This is a battle that this group is about to get into. They're defending a Republic ship from an incursion by Imperial troops, and if they did not have a full group here, they would wipe out very, very quickly.
And of course, something that we actually saw there, and something that makes this MMO really so exciting is that it is fully voiced.
It is a fully voiced game, and honestly, once you go fully voiced, you never go back. It really changes the way that I view games. I view RPGs specifically.
Yeah.
But what you see going on right here is very much some classic roles. The trooper there is our main tank. He is actually playing as a ranged tank, which is maybe a little bit odd for folks who haven't played a lot of MMOs. But he is taking the focus of the large breach droid, and he is being healed by the Jedi Consular. That's the one at the foreground. So that's the main healer for this group. In the background, you'll see running around a Jedi Knight who's doing a lot of melee DPS. He's kind of cleaning up the trash, taking care of the lesser enemies, while the trooper focuses on the main breach droid. And there's also a smuggler who does some crowd control. Very much a jack of all trades at this stage in his progression. He can drop a heal in from time to time. But if any one of these characters were to fail in his role, they're going to wipe. And in fact, I'm kind of hoping they do so I can make fun of them.
But so this is something that you're going to need, to be able to have characters of different types. You can't just go in there with 4 tanks and expect to come out victorious.
Exactly. You need to balance your group, but we do try to make sure that you can customize by the way you play.
Okay.
We know that some people are going to choose to play a smuggler because they think Han Solo is a badass, and therefore that's just what they want to do. As a player, though, they may want to play a slightly more tactical game versus a more utility class, and you can sort of subclass, we call it advanced classes. You can choose an advanced class, and then you can spec your gear as well as your abilities to fit your gameplay style.
And this is something, so maybe a player that's actually familiar with MMOs and the MMO archetypes, they're going to be able to find familiar roles here.
Exactly. And you're not just limited to one choice. If you really like to tank, there are several ways that you can tank and several different classes you can choose and have that tanking thing. If you want to heal, several different classes you can choose that can be a very, very good healer.
And what level of character customization, sort of visual character customization, are we going to see?
Well, shockingly, we hear that people in MMOs like to customize themselves.
It's crazy, right?
That was news to us.
Yeah.
So we decided that there are thousands and thousands of different custom pieces of gear in the game. I can't do math very well, but that's more than millions of combinations. You can make yourself look tricked out in dozens and dozens of ways per character class, per spec, and depending on the way you like to play the game. If you're very, very much PvP oriented, you can get some really cool PvP gear, and we know that that's the way you can brag to your friends.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for showing us the ways of combat. Believe it or not, we have still got more of this MMO to show off. Stay with us. Stay with us.
That's right, Morgan, because after the break, we've got the third and final part in our epic The Old Republic demo. We're going to show you what it's like to play as an Inquisitor and reveal how their story begins. You want to miss this? Really?